This is what you could become. Look at them. So thank you. Alison heads our yoga program at Three Jewels. Gabriel heads our meditation. He's going to be your boss. Okay, Gabriel runs the entire meditation program at Three Jewels. We also have a special guest, Jasmine, all the way from China. So get this, Jasmine has been working with Geshe Michael and us as the board of Asian Plastics Institute to look for developing meditation studios around the world. So she's a business executive with a ton of resources, but also a vision that meditation can change the life of beings on this planet. So Jasmine's spearheading the search for how can we create spaces where meditations can be taught so we can change the lives of people in business across the world.
She's your other future boss.
Yeah, your possible future boss.
If you want to have some career in China.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So welcome, Jasmine. Thank you for making it all the way. She took a red-eye flight from Arizona. So did you sleep anything or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
In reviews. Okay, cool. So we have for the first time meditation teachers in training, meditation teacher graduates, experienced meditation teachers. We have 3-year retreatants as your teachers. We have Jasmine connecting us to the greater pool of our community around the world. We really have a room packed of potential, yeah? And it's inside of you and what we do together. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first guest speaker for the entire meditation teacher training, Earle. And I'd like to say a couple of things about him. You. The first thing I'd like to say about Earle is Earle teaches with tools. He's an incredible teacher of kids. And every time we go to China, he takes some stupid item like that and bothers everyone, but he laughs and he thinks it's funny, right? I know, it's karma. So Earle is fun. He's also experienced. He's done 3 years in deep meditation. He's got a strong yoga and meditation background, but he's also a practitioner of real life. I'd like to invite him to tell us how he got to these teachings and this practice as some part of the beginning. And without that, thank you so much. All yours. You good? You can come that way if you can see. That's right.
Okay. I'd like to say that it's great to be here, but I'm so fucking nervous. The last place I want to be right now is right here. So, but I feel like I've been blessed to have a lot of access to teachings and being able to have time to practice a lot. And as practitioners, I think, you know, if we hear the teachings and we practice them and we integrate it and we feel it's been good for us, and then when somebody asks and there's an opportunity to teach, we should take it. We should look for those opportunities. And so I was stressing out all day, and I asked one of my teachers, I was like, I'm stressed out. And they said, it's not about you, God, or what you'll say, or what people will think of you. It's about giving them a gift that may create a doorway to open their heart. To open their heart. So I thought as teachers that should be what we're doing. And that kind of made me feel a little bit better about the whole thing. And then I heard you guys had an emptiness meditation this morning, and I was kind of thinking about that. my words are just volume and syllables. You guys fill in the blanks. So if the talk is great, you can pat yourself on the back. If it stinks, don't blame me. And it's an honor to be here and to be here doing the part of this training. It's an amazing thing. I haven't heard of anything like it. So I'm honored to be here and to see some good friends, to be able to talk about these things. It's cool. So a friend of mine used to teach. She was teaching in a prison in New Zealand that I was familiar with, and she started giving a talk. And it's a lot of Maori culture there. And this guy got up and started pacing. And she was trying to teach. She was teaching meditation, and she's like, "What's going on?" And he said, "How am I supposed to listen to your talk? I don't know you." Like in their culture, there's such a strong emphasis on family and their greeting is when they greet, you come up to someone nose to nose. And you breathe out together, and then you breathe in together, and you're sharing each other's breath. And that's like the traditional greeting. It's very beautiful. And she realized, like, she just kind of come in and started blah, 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 blahing about all these holy, great ideas of meditation without making any sort of connection. So, unfortunately, when you teach, the communication is a lot of one way. It'd be great to sit here and just talk with everybody and get to know everybody. It's not very practical. So I'll share a little bit about me, mostly just so people understand the lineage, but also so that there's some connection, and hopefully it can be more than a one-sided conversation and we can have some communication as we go through class. I met the ACI teachings when I was on an extended stay in New Zealand. I was there for a couple of years.
Go on.
And I met this guy that said, "Oh, let's get these ACI courses," by this guy named Geshe Michael Earle. And so we ordered the audio cassette tapes 8 million years ago. And I started listening to the ACI teachings. ACI is the Asian Classics Institute. So my teacher is Geshe Michael Earle. He taught in New York in the 90s. And he took the Geshe degree, the 20-year Tibetan Galup Geshe degree, and made it into 10 class courses and taught it here in the 90s. They're amazing. A lot of this class I can see on the wall is from ACI, the third course. And so I was kind of a closet Buddhist back in Canada, and I just got more and more into it, and went down to Arizona to help start Diamond Mountain with Geshe Michael, and I lived there for probably almost 10 years, and we started a university there. So a lot of my teachings come from Geshe Michael and from my time in Arizona. I took all the yoga philosophy there. It was the main thing I taught. Word by word translation of the Yoga Sutras and the Pradipika and a bit of the Gita. But I also taught some meditation there and some debate and some crazy obscure Buddhist philosophy. And I did 3 retreats while I was there. And while I was actually before that, when I came down originally to Arizona, I started coming down to Geshe when he was doing his 3 retreat. And I met a guy there named John Yates, and he was a meditation teacher. Actually, he wasn't a meditation teacher back then. He would just lead these Sunday sits at his place in Kochi Stronghold. So we go out there, and we would sit for an hour, we'd walk for half an hour, sit for an hour, walk for half an hour, sit for an hour, have lunch, sit for an hour and fall asleep, walk for half an hour, sit for an hour, walk for half an hour, sit for an hour. That was our Sunday. And And now I think he's been to 3 jewels. He's now goes by Master Chuladasa. And I studied with him a lot. And a lot of what we talk about today will come directly from his teachings. And then the other person I learned a lot from was Mama Christine McNally when we were, as a time in the mountain. She taught a meditation course. Got a lot of personal advice from her. She had us write a meditation journal. And she looked at like 130 journals every week and gave us feedback on our meditation for 7 years. So I definitely appreciate all the time she plugged into me. So that's a bit of the background. That's where I'm coming from. So I was talking a little bit to Hector and some of the people and looking at the board. You guys have talked about why meditate, so I don't want to get into why are we going to meditate. You guys have talked about that a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about my perspective on a teacher training, and I want to give some encouragement. So I guess to start with, meditation is far, far, far and away the hardest thing I've ever done. The hours I've spent on my ass on the cushion, if I took those hours and into practicing guitar, I figure I'd be a pretty good guitarist. It's been a long journey. It's not been easy. It's the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, for sure. And I think a lot of that is, I think you need a teacher in meditation, a lot more so than in yoga. I think a yoga teacher helps a lot. And it's good to, go to the studio and learn some yoga. But I think you can do okay on a video. I think you can do okay, at home on your own. I used to practice Ashtanga. I studied with a teacher every day for 7 years. But I did learn the second series by a video. It's not ideal, but I think we can do it. I don't think you can do that in meditation. Way, way, way more so than yoga. I don't think we'll progress in meditation without a teacher. To have someone guide you in meditation every step of the way. I'm not suggesting you don't need a yoga teacher. My emphasis is I think people practice meditation for years and don't get anywhere and don't know what they're doing. When I talk to people, I was at a wedding last night. I was talking to people about meditation and they're like, I don't really sit and meditate. I like to meditate more when I'm moving my body. And she was almost railing against the idea that meditation means sitting down. And that might work for her experience, but my experience is people meditate for a long time and don't get any better. And are frustrated by it. And it's because there's not a lot of meditation teachers. As a yoga teacher, I know I'm pretty damn replaceable in the world today. There's a million yoga teachers. But there's not a million meditation teachers. So we all have a very important place to grow into in our culture. And hopefully one day that'll be the same about meditation teachers, who will be deluge the market with meditation teachers too. But right now it's not like that. So it's an amazing thing that we're stepping into as a teacher. Right now we're not replacing. It's an important place that we're all at. That was So this is a very, very famous image. Hopefully someone teaches it in teacher training. Cool. Right. I don't know about that really. But it's a teaching by the Buddha, and it teaches the 9 stages of meditation. That's kind of laid out there. And it gives a roadmap for meditation. So I think when I first started studying meditation, I didn't really understand how systematized and how the mind goes through 9 stages of meditation. Like every single person is going to go through 9 stages that we can clearly demarcate. And that's so cool because we need to be able to say, hey, I'm at level 2 or I'm at level 3. I know what the problems are of level 2. I know what the antidotes for those problems are. And I know what I need to do to get to level 3. And I know what level 3 looks like. It's like, you know, when we're trying to get from A to B, like when I'm trying to get from here to the wedding last night in Beacon, I need to know how to get to Grand Central. I need to know how to get on the train. I need to go to Beacon and Fishkill. You know, like, we need to have the roadmap. And so the 9 stages gives us the meditation roadmap that every single person is going to fit in and go through in a very systematic way. And so the teachings on this are very cool out there where we can, and it seems to be kind of taboo in the meditation world. Like, where was it on the mountain? Like, where are you at in your meditation? Like, when I was in New Zealand, I was in prison for a couple of years. That's why I got the teachings. And you're not really supposed to ask people, like, what are you in for? Like, that wasn't cool. And it's kind of like, I find the meditation culture is kind of like that. Like, people don't want you to ask them, so like, what stage are you on? And I think it's because people are embarrassed. Like, I've been meditating 5 years and I'm on level 2. And so it became like this uncomfortable thing where we don't talk about it, we don't share it, and we need to change that culture. Here's the roadmap, and let's help each other, you know, walk up the path and try and progress through the levels. So we'll talk about the first 4 levels, which is great because they're the easy levels. I think of them as like the jackass levels. I'm super familiar with them. I've built away these beginning levels for years and years and years. And then some of them will go through levels 5 through 9. Okay, so today we're just going to focus on levels 1. Here's what we'll do today. What I want to do is introduce a terminology. There's a ton of different styles of meditation. You can do chakra meditations, compassion meditations, Tonglen, emptiness, yoga nidra. Everyone will find their own style. But what I want to do today is talk about a terminology that should be universal to any of those styles. And so we have a context and a framework and a language that we can talk with each other about. That was super helpful for me to have these ideas. Like, I know what it feels like when I'm figuring out that I'm meditating on something that I don't want to meditate on, but then to be able to put a word to that and a word to the process, the word sound the process to get back to my meditation object was super helpful for me. So we're going to talk about some terminology that I hope is very useful to provide a structured framework for whatever meditation style you choose to do. We're going to talk about the first 4 levels of meditation. We're going to talk about the problems and antidotes for each level that we talked about. And we're going to learn the skills specific to the level so that we can pass through those skills. So as we go through the stages of meditation, we're going to talk about distractions, we're going to talk about dullness, and those come in gross and subtle forms. And we work on different things at different stages. We don't, as a beginning meditator, try to get rid of all the distractions. It doesn't work like that. We try to get rid of what we call gross distraction. That's kind of our first goal. So in each stage, there's a specific thing that we're trying to accomplish, and there's specific skills to try to accomplish those antidotes to the problems that we're going to encounter at that specific stage. Does that make sense? So each stage is going to have characteristics. Each stage is going to have its own problems. Each stage is going to have its own solutions to those problems, and practices that are those solutions. Cool? Makes sense? So the first stage is called establishing a practice. and putting your mind on an object. So the first thing we'll talk about is this stage. And here's some of the things that we'll talk about in relation to stage
Do you want to tell them what the elephant is and what you're going to know?
one. Maybe we'll come back to it.
I'm just saying about flicking.
No, it's super well. So it's kind of shine over it. The elephant is dullness, right?
The elephant is your mind,
Elephant is your mind.
and it changes from dark, like uncontrolled, to white, controlled.
And the monkey is your monkey
There
mind.
is agitation. Don't worry about those. Just know that the elephant is a metaphor for your mind, and the monk is you trying to control your mind through different means.
We'll look at it at the next slide, and you can help me out here. So we're gonna differentiate. So here's some of the terminology: conscious awareness, attention, peripheral awareness. We're gonna really get specific about what those terms mean. We're gonna understand the first problem to meditation and its 4 antidotes. So in the context of the 9 stages of meditation, we're gonna have 5 problems and 8 antidotes to those problems. Okay, so there's 9 stages of meditation. Every single mind is gonna go through. When we go through those 9 stages, we're gonna come across 5 problems. And when we come across those 5 problems, there's 8 solutions to those problems. Okay. So we're going to talk about on level 1, we talk about the first problem, which has 4 solutions to that problem. You with me?
Yes.
Very Buddhist lists already. And we're going to understand the importance and the process for finding your meditation object. That sounds so simple. That was such a revelation to me when I practice after practice not doing that. It's a skill we need to do. We have to be really clear on finding an object. How do we find our meditation object? What is our meditation object? My mom says she meditates, and she just, I'll talk to her about it. She said, I just kind of sit down and let my mind go and relax. That's great, but oh no, it's more than that. It's like really strengthening your mind, focusing your mind, and you can't do that if you don't have an object. If you just let your mind go and follow your mind, it's almost it's developing bad habits. You can make your meditation work, and that's why I think meditation is so hard. Like in yoga practice. Why I say I think we need a meditation teacher more than a yoga teacher is in yoga, I'm not going to develop super harmful bad habits. You know, a little bit, like I can turn my fingers in, which will throw my shoulder out and get a shoulder injury. But in meditation, we can develop habits that take years to overcome by not understanding what we're doing. So if we never find an object and we just let our mind go and let our mind go and let our mind go in meditation, we're developing a habit which could take years to overcome. We'll talk more about that. So level 1. I had a friend that did 3-year retreat, and when she came out of 3-year retreat, I was like, what'd you learn? And she said, I learned I was totally insane. My mind is insane. And I think that's really common. Like that should be our first realization when we like sit down and meditate. It's like, I'm just crazy. Okay, what'd you learn? I'm crazy, a crazy person. And that's what, when we start to meditate, that's what level 1 is. It's like we sit down and our mind is crazy. So that's what we'll cover in level 1. Okay? Level 1 has the first of the 5 problems and 8 corrections. So what we'll do first is we're going to meditate probably for like half an hour. So sit up straight, and then we'll do very serious, intense meditation without moving for half an hour. Okay? So sit up straight. All right. Just kidding. My question though is, in anyone's mind, was anyone like, You know, like we're at a meditation teacher training, so people are probably kind of engaged and willing to meditate, but hands up if you're like, yeah.
We just ate.
So the first problem of meditation is laziness, which in Tibetan is lelo. Geshe translated that as laziness. I translated as fuck it. Like that's what I think of, like what the word means. It's like fuck it, I don't meditate, and it happens like pretty much every time I go to meditate. It's like I don't want to do this. At least a little bit. Like there's a moment of that. Like every day in 3-year retreat, 4 times a day, there's a little bit of laziness, which means it doesn't mean laziness like I'm lazy, I'm not going to work. It means I don't want to meditate. I don't want to sit on my cushion. And we come up with a billion reasons, like is warm in the bed and cold outside the bed, or there's Instagram, there's someone to cuddle with, or like any one of 8 billion reasons to say, I don't want to do it. And in 3-year retreat, it's crazy because your house is clean. You've got nothing to do for about 2 years and 7 months. Like 0 commitments, there's no work, there's no internet, there's no books. You know, like, and still the mind is throwing, you should like go feed the birds because they're probably hungry. And the mind throws out all of these reasons why not to meditate. So apparently that was a problem in the Buddhist time too. People were like, I want to meditate. And I don't know, I could go on a long time about this, but I assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's just a struggle to get on the cushion. We have resistance. So there's some solutions. So again, 5 problems, 8 corrections. First problem, Earle. The first one is thinking of the good qualities of meditation. So you guys have talked about this, I assume?
We talked about the benefits. We did a couple of workshopy things where before us telling them what we think the benefits are and what we could reach with meditation, the people doing the training did a mini workshop together and looked for why would people want to meditate? What would the benefits be? What's it for?
So let's throw out a couple. What would you, if you were, okay, so you get up in the morning, or you don't get up in the morning, you're like, I don't want to meditate. Okay, so now this is our process. Okay, well, what are some of the benefits of meditation? Cultivate compassion. Cultivate compassion. Cool. I want to be more compassionate. I should get out of bed.
Self-insight.
Sorry?
Self-insight.
Uh-huh.
Insight to insight.
Yeah.
A calm way to start your day.
And the joyful way to start the day.
Okay, make up your own list. There's no magic. There's no answer to this one. Right? There's a ton of benefits. Insight would be a good one. But whatever it is, we have to come up with something that's heartfelt for us. Like there has to be and it changes, but there should be like this continual process of thinking about getting our inspiration from thinking of the qualities of the thing that we want to attain. That should act as an antidote. What's the next one going to be?
Gross wholeness? Gross distractions?
No, it's going to happen.
Make an effort.
Close. Yeah. The second one is you decide you want to. Like it's not enough. Yeah, there's all these great things about meditation. That's cool. It's like, yeah, there's all these great things about meditation, and I really want to be that. I want that in my life. And then comes we make some effort. So if we think of the good qualities, if we decide we want them, then there should be ideally getting on our yoga mat or on our meditation cushion. Make some effort. Get up. Get on your butt. And if we do that often enough, I was reading some sort of study on how long it takes to develop a habit. Anyone know that?
28 days.
28 days?
30 days.
30?
I heard 3 months.
Not 40.
40? Well, I heard 15. Anyway, it's not that many, right? So from 15 to 40, 30, call it 25. We'll take the middle number. 25 days to develop a habit. And that's kind of the last one. The antidote, the last one is, Shingon is a good word. It means like fluidity. It just means like there's a habit. And it means that we've, at that point, that struggle to get up and get on your cushion is a lot less. So we train ourselves, we develop the habit, and then it just gets easier. And I also think it gets easier with success. It's easier to do the things that we develop, that we want to do, that we have some success at, that we feel we're making progress with. My teacher talked about it like in relation to dating. He's like, it's like dating. It's like, oh, we were talking about the other day, I was talking with Sarah and Rachel about, what's the app where you're
Grinder?
Yes. We were talking about Grindr. Do you swipe left and right on Grindr?
I don't. Everything's accessible all the time. That's why.
Tinder. So we were talking about Tinder, and so I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, some yogi made this thing. I had this great realization. Like, in yoga, we talk about the left channel, the prana on the left channel being related to desire, and the prana on the right channel being related to aversion. It's like, whoever made this Tinder thing, you're going to be a yogi. Because you're like swiping left for desire and right for, but apparently it's the other way around. So my whole theory on the world of Tinder was wrong. But anyway, that kind of should be what it's like. It's like in relation to like we're on Tinder, we're looking for a partner, and it's like thinking of all the good qualities. Oh, they dress well, or they like dogs, or whatever the hell you're looking for. It should be like that with meditation, right? It should be like, makes me calm, makes me have insights into nature of reality, makes me more compassionate, swiping right, all of that. Okay. So it should be like that. It's like in the morning, you're like looking at your meditation Tinder. You're like swiping right on all the qualities of the meditation that you want. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then you have to like, apparently you have to text them right away, and then you play that game. You have to make some effort. You have to decide like, that's the person I want, make some effort to communicate with them, and then you do something about it. You go out on a date. And then the Xinjiang would be like, that's it. I was just at a wedding last night. It was so beautiful. We were so happy together. So Xinjiang would be like that. It's like they're together. It's like you don't have to try to date anymore. It's like the ring is on the finger. Everything's cool for them. Like they're committed. And so meditation is the same way. The Xinjiang is like, it's easy. It's like I've got that. It's easier. It's easy. There's still a little, my experience is there's always a little bit of fuck it. I don't want to meditate. But it gets easier. And Xinjiang is like, that habit is established. So that's the process for what?
Collective wisdom?
Sorry?
Collective wisdom?
Yeah. Okay, so that's the antidote, first 4 antidotes for the first problem, which is laziness. So which one is the real antidote?
No.
They all what they all are?
Yeah.
Oh, no, because
The effort?
Just do it.
They all.
But you need to want to do it before you do it.
But you can do it without one.
Yeah,
No, you can't.
you could stay on the bed going, I want to.
You can
Yeah,
just
just
like
do
what
it.
you want to do.
Maybe the personality.
Sounds like a great debate to me.
Rachel, so.
All right, so, not quite on the slide yet. Other ideas about, so those were 4 antidotes to the solution of I want to meditate. I don't feel like it. Some of the other, let's throw out some other ideas about how to establish a solid practice. And you might have talked about this, but it's some of the ideas that I thought of for me that have been beneficial is it's got to be same time, same place.
We talked about the possibility of that and what that would deliver, the reclined seat, which is the front of the gym.
Invest in a nice mat, invest in a nice
Yeah.
situation, really good incense.
Yeah, in the sense of like create a space that you're attracted to. Like, so for me, like not the bed. Like I sleep on the bed, and that's kind of the place for those bed kind of things. Like if I meditate on my bed, it's like that's where I'm used to sleeping. So it's a really horrible place for you to meditate. It's nice to have somewhere like where your mind associates with meditation. So set up a space that's like, oh yeah. So the mind goes there. It's just like you've already kind of ahead of the curve. You're already like the mind is getting into that mode of, oh, now's my time to meditate. Same time. Like a real consistent time I find very beneficial. So again, it's like my mind knows it's time to meditate. And the people in my house know it's time that I meditate. And my animal knows that it's time for me to meditate. And my experience is they kind of get it. It's like when I was in Canada, I had a partner that she used to call it sit down and shut up. She's like, oh, you're going to sit down and shut up now. That was her word for meditation, which is kind of stuck with me. Kind of like it. I had to go sit down and shut up. And, like the phone stopped ringing during my meditation time when I'm really consistent. People just kind of got into my flow. I got into my flow. My mind gets into my flow. Make it attractive. Pleasant smells, pleasant sights. Have an altar if you want or don't want it. At that time I had this, I don't know what I was doing. I just looked at a book on how to make an altar. It was massive. It was like this 3-tiered altar thing that had like the water bowls and the mandala, and pictures, and my friends. I had a really small place. My friends would come over. We were still, still partying a little bit at that time in my life. My friends would come over and be like, at the end of the night, there'd be beer bottles all over my altar and the ashtray, and I'd be like, oh my god, sorry. But have the thing that's right for you. Have the setup that's right for you, that's attracting for you, that you want to go, that's appealing. Have I've got my meditation shawl, my little blanket. Okay. Now I'm in my space. I got the things that I associate with meditation. So my mind is like Pavlov's dog. It's like I've been working back in British Columbia, and we have like a real consistent schedule. It's like breakfast is at 8, lunch is at noon, dinner's at 6, and after a month, it was like 12:05, stomach's grumbling. I got into that habit, right? And so meditation's like, okay, meditation's at 7. It's like 7:05 if you're not on the cushion. Having a real consistent thing going will get you to that cushion. I think a lot of people meditate because they feel guilty if they don't. It's like I've got this spiritual checklist of things that I'm supposed to do, and if I don't do it, then I'm going to kind of beat myself up about it. So I'll get on my mat, or I'll get on my cushion because I say that's what I'm going to do in my spiritual life. And it feels okay. It does work. But we have to move away from that, right? Meditation shouldn't be like a check mark on our spiritual life. Yeah, I can check that box. And in reality, that's got me on the mat. It's got me on the cushion a lot. But it's not ideal. It doesn't lead to a real vibrant practice. Okay, so we sit down finally, we're on our mat or on our cushion. And what do? So the first thing I want to talk about is conscious awareness. So conscious awareness it's what we're aware of, basically. So what are we going to do? We're trying to fix our mind. We're trying to fix our heart. We're trying to fix, we're trying to make ourselves better. We're trying to fix our mind and make it more powerful, more focused. Give ourselves a platform to see emptiness directly. So how are we going to do that? It's going to be with our mind. That's the tool we have to fix the problem is our mind. We're not going to tinker toy together some sort of solution for being crazy. Right? So what do we have to work with? We have conscious awareness. Conscious awareness is like whatever we experience in a moment, that is the object in our conscious awareness. Conscious awareness, we're going to talk about two aspects of conscious awareness, and that's the two ways that we experience the world. Okay? So we have a field of consciousness. We have conscious awareness. Within that way of experiencing the world, we're going to talk about two different functions of mind that make up that conscious awareness. First one is attention. So if I say focus on the word in red at the top right, awareness, then we can focus, we can use intention to bring our focus to that word. Okay. So we have attention within our conscious awareness on the red word awareness. Make sense? Get the idea of what attention is? Okay. The second way that we experience the world, the second aspect of conscious awareness is peripheral awareness. So that's like peripheral awareness is more, it's more like the back, it's more contextual. It's like when we're driving, we have our attention on the car in front of us and we have our peripheral vision about what else is going on behind us, to the sides, stuff like that. It's the same way with our mind. We can focus our attention on an object, but we have the capacity to be aware of other things. So I can be sitting here looking at the word happiness, but also I can hear some sounds on the street. In my peripheral awareness, I can hear what's going on in the street, or I can feel the temperature of my body. I'm a little bit cold. And this was, is anyone familiar with these words? Anyone not familiar with this? This was really revolutionary to me.
Revelatory?
Yes. And it's such a huge, this is such an important part of meditation and progressing along the stages of the path of meditation. To be able to differentiate and use attention and peripheral awareness. And we're going to talk about it a lot today. But, so understand, our attention is it isolates, it cognizes, it analyzes. It's much more related to self, to capital S self. It's related to me and how I experience a specific part of the world. So it's taking it out of the whole context of things in our conscious awareness, and it's isolating a specific thing and focusing on that thing. Peripheral awareness is more an expansive view. It's holistic. It gives us context of how different things are relating to each other. It just provides context for the whole big picture. Okay, we couldn't survive with just attention. We would walk into things, or we'd be caught off guard all the time. We wouldn't be able to deal with danger. Okay, so peripheral attention is this bigger, holistic, expansive sense of what's going on. At the same time, we can have attention on a specific object. And what we're trying to do is both at the same time finding the optimal balance between attention and peripheral awareness, which is not that balance changes depending on whether we're sleeping, whether we're agitated, whether we're excited. So it's partly trying to find a balance between peripheral awareness and attention, but also we want to be able to increase the power of both of those. So both of the power of both of those aspects of our mind need to get bigger. So when I went into 3 retreat, see this crease here? It's like, I didn't have that before 3 retreat. So my 3 retreat, like 18 months in, I looked in a mirror and I was like, oh my God, I've got this crease in my head from meditating so much. And I'm trying so hard to meditate for so many hours. Like, I got this permanent, like, stress wrinkle in my forehead. And it's because, and so that the tendency when we meditate is like to focus in on an object with attention too much, meditating so hard, and the mind will bounce off it. Like we can't do that. We can't just zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, because the mind will bounce off. So the peripheral awareness is like this expansive opening up that allows the mindfulness to expand, and we're able to use those 2 forms of conscious awareness to have a more profound ability to of mind. Okay. So that's our goal. Cultivate stable attention, increase mindfulness.
Question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What about the dream state? When we see dreams, do we still have this attention and peripheral awareness, and how does it work? And sometimes, now when I think about my dreams, sometimes I notice that if in my dream I focus on something, that I kind of move closer to this.
Yeah, I don't have that in my dreams. I don't have the ability to direct my attention. So if you have like a lucid dream where you have some control in that, yeah. And I guess in a sense there's always attention and peripheral awareness even in a dream, because that's how we experience the world. But it's not intentional in the same way for me. Does that answer your question?
So basically, like our mind still has attention and peripheral awareness
I'd say
in
so.
the dream
Yeah.
state, right?
All the time. If you're doing it now, talking to him, you know the room is there.
Mhm.
In your dream, you're looking at an object that you're in context.
Okay, so we've got awareness, we've got attention, we've got peripheral awareness, and then we're gonna figure out. Now we need an object. In this system that we'll go over today, called shamatha vipassana. Shamatha means stillness, vipassana means insight. The object that's used is the breath. So, kind of. Like when someone says, okay, we're going to meditate, watch the breath, we have to get out of thinking of it like that. We can't watch the breath, it's invisible, so it's just stupid. And breath is a concept. Okay, so we're not watching breath, we're not even like, the goal isn't to sense, it's not even to like feel the sensation of breath at the tip of the nose. What we're doing is, we're meditating on our mind, but we're using breath as an anchor to do that. Okay, so a lot of times they will say, hope I won't say meditate on your breath. What I mean is we're going to use the sensation of breath at the tip of the nose as an anchor to increase the capacity of our mind. Okay, so we're really meditating on the mind using breath as an anchor to do that, as a tool to do that. And what's cool about breath is it's always there. It's very gross and physical, but at the same time it can get extremely subtle. It's just available, it's free, it's easy, it's no big, it's a constant. So it's a very convenient, we always have it with us, so it's a convenient tool to use. And that'll be our method. So with level 1, the problem is laziness. We talked about the antidotes. The other thing that we're trying to do is place the mind on an object. So this is pretty basic stuff. But it's good terminology. It's good to really understand what we're doing. So what I want to do now is we will meditate. And I just want you to get the idea of the terminology in our meditation. So we're going to use our intention to direct our attention. Okay, and we're going to direct our attention to the sensation of breath at the tip of the nose. Okay. So try to get into this framework of terminology. We're going to keep kind of hammering back to that. We're going to intentionally direct our attention. And we're actually going to do like a meditation prelim that I really like. It's not the, I think you guys talked about the 7 ingredient, the preliminaries. So this one's a little more secular, non-secular. This one's a little more applicable maybe for people that aren't into the religious components of Buddhism. Hey.
Hey.
Hey!
Hana.
So what we're going to do is we're going to direct our attention to a meditation object. I will guide the first part of it, and it'll be a exercise in transitioning from, from a busy day, we sit down and meditate. We can't go from crazy busy to meditation. We can't go from 4th gear to reverse. We need to have a transition. So we'll do a meditation on how to transition from life to meditation. What we'll do then is, so while we're doing that, I want you to really focus on the idea of consciously, intentionally directing your attention. Okay? And then we'll do 10 breaths. And then I want you to try to play around this idea of attention versus peripheral awareness. So hold your attention on the sensation of breath at the nose, the in and the out, the movement of the air, the temperature, whatever. But then, while you're holding your attention on that object, try to understand the idea of what peripheral awareness is, which might be a sound in the room, might be a sound on the street. It might be dullness creeping into your mind. Okay? There might be thoughts lurking behind the scene. So get comfortable. And let your attention fall, let it be vast. So let the mind go wherever it wants to go, but be in the present moment. Like maybe you're thinking about the wedding yesterday. That's fine. Be in the present moment and let that thought arise. Don't limit the scope, just stay in the present. And now, consciously, intentionally direct your attention to only things in this room. Thoughts, feelings, sounds, sensation. And now with intention, direct your attention to just your body. And now bring your attention to only sensations of the body associated with breath. Stomach, chest, nose. And now direct your attention to the sensation of breath as it passes in and out your nose. And we'll count 10 breaths there. Inhale and exhale as well. And now start to play with the idea of being able to hold and stabilize attention with the sensations of the breath at the nose, while still being aware of other things, but without losing the primary object of the breath sensation at the nose. So we're playing with the difference between attention and peripheral awareness. Like, can we be aware of other things without losing our meditation object? Try to think of attention like a spotlight, and peripheral awareness is like a floodlight. See if you can increase and decrease the spotlight and the floodlight without losing the object. Okay. And peacefully come out of the meditation. It's nice to have those sounds to use in the meditation. So let's finish up with level 1. We talked about tips for establishing a consistent practice. We talked about fighting laziness. We talked about distinguishing attention and peripheral awareness. And we did the counting. So again, what are we trying to accomplish in level 1? Sorry? Increase mindfulness? That's in general. All of the stages will try to do that. Specific to level 1.
Good habit. Find good habit.
Yeah, we're trying to establish a daily practice.
To find the balance between attention and peripheral vision in meditation.
Yeah, that's a method.
Get your mind on an object.
Yeah. So this is really important to understand that we have to work at the level that we're on. So when we're on level 2, we're working at the problems on level 2 with the methodology that work as an antidote to those problems. So level 1, what are we working on as a level 1 meditator? Getting my ass on the cushion, figuring out how to get my mind on object. So that meditation of let your mind be present with anything, then bring it into the room, then bring it to the body, then bring it to the sensation of the breath anywhere, and then bring it to the sensation of the breath in the nose. That works really well for me. Now I'm like, it's like, now I'm on my object. And that's what we're trying to do in this level 1. How are we going to do it? We talked about the tips for having a consistent practice. We talked about fighting laziness. We used counting. And then attention and peripheral awareness is like a method that we'll use throughout. And we kind of introduced that at this level.
Let's hold the object in a place.
All right. We'll do a quick break.
Yeah, I think there's
So
just
there's-
post-lunch.
20 of us in one bathroom. It's going to be interesting.
If the offices downstairs are open, then there's one there as well,
Great. Let's try to start at 3:30.
for the ground floor.
So we have
11 minutes.
11 minutes.
Good luck.
There's also no neighbors on this side of the balcony.
We'll surprise them.